The way it works is as follows. Every night when a person goes to sleep, there are parts of his soul or her soul that ascend to a higher spiritual realm. That's the definition of what sleep is. That sleep is to refresh yourself, to receive new energy. Like it's like a literal level where you go to sleep and you wake up with more strength. Same thing goes on a spiritual level, is that your soul, aspects of your soul, higher aspects of your soul return back to its root and return back to its place of origin. What remains in the level of what remains connected with your body are parts of the soul that are more connected with your biological and your physical energy, your nefesh, connected to the very egotistical survival part of your soul. Now, because parts of your soul achieve some type of out-of-body experience, it observes a lot of different things. But the filter through which it observes, which means the screen through which it sees what it's looking at, is your subconscious. So it has a vision, it sees something, it observes something, it understands something. I don't mean this in a literal level seeing, but it observes something. But because the only way it can be translated, the experience, is through your subconscious imagery. So depending how clear and transparent and holy your subconscious is, and how much control you have of your subconscious, that's the amount of whether that can be the barometer of knowing whether our dreams are prophetic or our dreams are just nonsense. In other words, if a person has control, when you close your eyes, when you're walking down the street, or you're lying in your bed or sitting on a chair, and all of a sudden you start daydreaming, if you're in control of the imagery that comes up during your daydreaming, or all of a sudden you find yourself like on a beach in Honolulu, you don't know how, if you are in control of your subconscious as much as we can, if we're in control of that, it means that we create the imagery in our mind, we create our subconscious narrative, then the dreams that we receive will be more prophetic. But if we don't have control, which means, and how do we know we don't have control, is because sometimes when you find yourself falling asleep, or just daydreaming, your mind just wanders into all different other areas, then you know you have zero control of your subconscious, and then there is maybe a spark of prophecy, maybe 1/60th of prophecy, but 60th is the amount that becomes nullified as something greater. So it's a small little spark of prophecy, but for the most part you don't pay attention. One of the ways to know whether a person has a prophetic dream or not, assuming that this person already has a worked out subconscious, or sometimes a person that day had a good day, was on a very high spiritual level. How do you know? So the Abarbanel, one of the commentators in the 1500s, writes in the beginning of Miketz, beginning of Parshat Miketz, where he talks about dreams. So Abarbanel writes that one of the signs to know whether your dream is actually prophetic or not is how you experience it. You know, sometimes you have a dream and you wake up and you say, "Oh, that was a pleasant dream. That was nice." Maybe you saw a grandmother that passed away. Nice dream. Sometimes you wake up with a certain sensation, and your heart is beating, and you feel like you just experienced it. That we can assume is some form of prophecy. Not a prophecy itself, but a minor form of a prophetic insight. So again, it has to do with the clarity of your subconscious, which means the matter of how much control you have in your life. According to the matter of control, how much you have in your life, that will make the difference of what type of dream you're going to have. In other words, the dream is always going to be on a prophetic level, but it will be through the screen of your subconscious, and if the more subconscious uncontrolled that you have, the more of that will be the filter, so you won't see anything. It'll be like a glimmer. It's like trying to look for a needle in the haystack, because the haystack will be all your subconscious, and you're trying to find that needle and you can't find it. But if you have control of your subconscious, it'll be more clear, and you'll be able to see exactly what the dream is directing you towards. That's on one level. On the second level, we have to talk about, which is another aspect, is that a dream, not being prophetic in terms of predicting the future, or understanding your deeper level of your soul, of what you have to achieve in this world, your dream is always talking to you about something. Your dream is always telling you something about yourself. So there's another understanding of dreams, is that even if it may not be prophetic in terms of what the future is, some type of premonition, some type of inclination, it does tell us something about ourselves. So every time you have a dream, certainly if you remember the dream and they're very vivid, you have to ask yourself, why am I seeing this image? What is it in my life that I need correcting or perfecting that this dream is showing me? So we could learn from our dreams even if they're not prophetic, because they are coming from our subconscious.